Hey Bronies, hey Pegasisters. Okay, long story short, one of my fans wanted me to review Trade Yes, so for the person who wanted this review, this one's for you. Okay, so, if you know me, you know that when I first saw Season 4 of My Little Pony, I detested Scott Sonneborn, mainly for his disastrous episode known as Some Pony to Watch Over Me, and after the sheer torture of that episode, which still stands as my least favorite episode of Season 4, and one of my top 5 least favorite episodes ever, I had very few hopes for Trade Ya. And in some respects I was right, and in some respects there are a few things that I do like about it. So what's the story? Well, Twilight, Pinkie Pie, Applejack, Rarity, Rainbow Dash, and Fluttershy, along with Spike, head over to the Rainbow Falls Trading Exchange in order to trade items that they don't really like anymore and trade them for something new. I've never been to a trader's exchange myself, so this whole concept seemed relatively new to me. So basically, the story is split up into 3 specific subplots. The first subplot being that Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy, the 2 Pegasi, have to find a way for Rainbow Dash to get a copy of the new Daring Do book by trading a bunch of items. Rainbow Dash has to trade her horseshoe, a rusty old horseshoe, for a crystal chalice. Then they have to trade the chalice for an antique chicken. They have to trade the chicken for a Discord lamp. Yes, there is a Discord lamp. Then they have to trade the lamp for an Orthros, a 2-headed dog. And then trade the Orthros for the book. It's like a side quest for a video game. It's unbelievably convoluted, and that's part of the humor. The second subplot revolves around Rarity and Applejack arguing about selling their hoard of useless things to get antiques. Well, Applejack wants to get an antique pie tin, and Rarity wants to get this this jewel that's a carbon copy of the jewel she already has. So they have to argue about whether or not to get an antique piece of junk or a copy of an item that Rarity already has. And the third subplot revolves around Pinkie Pie and Twilight Sparkle here, trying to find something to trade with Twilight's old books since her library is overstuffed and she needs to trade some of the books she doesn't need anymore at the exchange. So what did I think? Well, it's sort of a mixed bag. Personally, the Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy subplot is the best one. It's actually pretty funny to see these two interact with each other, especially considering that we've seen with episodes like Hurricane Fluttershy that when these two characters who couldn't be more different interact with each other, it's always pretty entertaining. Plus, there was an interesting character involved with their subplot that I feel the need to address. This teenage fan named Sylvian Portelance, who actually has spinal muscular atrophy, had a wish to voice a character in a My Little Pony episode, and this is the episode where he got to voice a character. His name's Stellar Eclipse, and he's the character who has this little wheelchair to move his back legs. It's just something interesting that I wanted to point out, considering I've never met Mr. Portelance, but if he's watching this video, I salute him. Anyways, that subplot's actually kind of funny, but it has one controversial moment that I'll get to in a bit. The Pinkie Pie and Applejack subplot is not very good. It's not really that funny. The premise doesn't really endear me, and it seems to be a tumor on the episode. Like, the episode could be a 7 or an 8 out of 10 episode, but it has this little tumor that knocks it down a peg. Then there's the Pinkie Pie and Twilight subplot, which isn't as unfunny as Applejack and Rarity, but ultimately it's still not exactly very funny. It had a couple of funny moments with Pinkie Pie's antics as an auctioneer, and it had some interesting animation with some of the ponies actually being crystal ponies at the convention, but ultimately it sort of falls flat. That being said, I really did like the animation in the episode. It's one of the most visually striking episodes of Season 4. We see a lot of different diverse pony designs, including the aforementioned Stellar Eclipse wheelchair pony design. And it also happens to give us a lot of creative visuals with the various items that the ponies trade. I never knew Discord had his own lamps. Plus, there are also some humorous moments, especially in the Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy subplot. For example, when the ponies get this crystal chalice, Rainbow Dash accidentally breaks the chalice, and you think, oh my god, the guy who sells the antique chickens is not going to trade her for that. But it turns out when they fix the crystal chalice, the guy breaks the chalice anyways because he wanted the crystal pieces for a mosaic painting. I was saying, that's actually pretty funny. See, yeah, considering you were never hinted beforehand that he was planning to make a mosaic painting. So the joke sort of comes out of nowhere, but it does end up being pretty humorous. Unfortunately, there's one controversial moment that sort of holds down the episode for me. When Rainbow Dash finally gets the book, it turns out the Orthros needs to be trained, and the trader that she gets the book from says that Fluttershy has to come with her to train the Orthros, and she's not allowed to go back to her friends until the Orthros is trained, which apparently takes an unspecified long amount of time. But Rainbow Dash just takes the book and says the trade's fair. Now, granted, she realizes she made a mistake and acted impulsively, but still, Rainbow Dash, what were you thinking? You're better than this. How did I expect that from Season 1 or 2 Rainbow Dash, not Season 4 Rainbow Dash? But anyways, that's just my thoughts. I don't know. It felt cheap, it felt wrong, it felt out of character. But still, the episode is just sort of an okay one for me. You'll get a few laughs out of it, and I do like the fact that they gave the Make-A-Wish Foundation kid a decent role, but otherwise it's just serviceable. So I give Tradia a 6 out of 10. I'll see you next time.